We are absolutely ready to go. Tiki and Tierney on the fan. And man, oh man, I got to tell you from the bottom of my heart, it feels so good to say that. Tiki, brother, well, first of all, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you as well, brother.
Tiki, what's happening, partner? How you doing,
man.
kid?
You know what? They have much nicer seats over here on WFAN
I know.
than the broken down ones that we had
You
on
mean the
CBS
dump that we were in for
Sports.
about 9 years? Nah, they treated us well.
I mean,
But
it's
although
just
the
next door.
Wi-Fi
Yes.
kind of sucks over here.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it took us, hey, Hoff, how long did it take us to navigate the Wi-Fi?
Probably good, like 5 minutes.
I think you're being a little bit of a brown nose to Spike. More like 30 minutes. The Wi-Fi is horrendous.
But I hooked it up for you, bro.
Well, you did because
Okay.
you're a nerd. Listen, I got to tell you, part of me wants to start with the delusional Joe Judge press conference. But we will start with the Jets. But first, listen. We've got to unpack a lot of stuff here.
Yes.
And once we get into the flow of the show, Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, following Boomer and Gio, who were great, leading into Carton and Roberts, who were great. You know, the first segment today, and we'll bounce around quite a bit. I'm sure you've maybe seen some articles, some different things as we led up to this. I guess it broke the first week in December that we were going to make this jump. And listen, quite frankly, you know, Teak, that if I was, first of all, it's impossible to encapsulate everything that I want to say, that you want to say, and nail it in the first segment, so we won't even try. But I'm going to say this. I think this is a good jump-off point for me. And people who know me really know that this is right from the heart. I feel like, watch, Met fans are going to get pissed off already. Well, I guarantee what I'm about to say. And this is not let me just preface it with, I promise, Tiki, this is not a slight to Met fans, okay?
I'm not even worried about that.
Uh-huh.
I'm worried that you might cry.
No, I'm not going to cry. No, I'm pumped. Trust me, I'm not going to cry. I'm ready to roll. I'm beyond
this is your
thrilled.
dream, bro.
It is, of course. Listen, but I would say, and Met fans, relax, because you're going to get respect on this show. My dad's an old Dodger fan. He's a Met fan at heart now. I watched Kinder's Corner growing up. Met fans will get. And by the way, Tiki only, or Buster, Buster Barber was the one who broke the Stevie Cohen story back in the day by the Mets. I feel like today, through all the stops and 20 years in the business, I feel like today I'm putting on the pinstripes. And that's why I say, Met fans, relax.
Yeah.
You know, don't take it the wrong way. But when you talk about brands and when you talk about iconic, voices and a collection of greatness and an unparalleled brand of greatness, I know every day for me as a guy who grew up in this town, I was 13 or 14 when the fan was born, fell asleep to it every night. Listen to it, even when I was down the dial at the other station, coming home from our national show. I never left the fan. I would say that every day, and this is a vow to the audience, and then Tiki, you take this, and I'll shut my big mouth. I know I'm yapping, but it's important to get this out for me. Every day, a little piece, even with the ego, little piece with Francesa, little piece of the schmooze, certainly a piece of Joe B, who was in this time slot for years, and we all love Joe.
Joe B's the man.
He is the man. Evan, who's doing his thing with Craig in the afternoons. Even somebody like Russ Salzberg, who I've gotten to know. His grandson plays with my son in the suburbs in New Jersey. You're going to get our best. It is an honor to be here, and I can't wait to do what we do.
Before I start talking, tell me the stops. I know the stops.
The stops?
Tell the stops. The stops started in New York.
Oh, geez. No, well, are you talking about like internships? Because there was an internship at FAN.
BT on air doing BT things.
Well, BT was doing BT things where he lied, and he basically said that he was a student at Nassau Community College, even though I had a 4-year degree, just to get some reps on 90.3 WHPC.
I love it.
That's a true story. I won't bore anybody with it. But I actually got something in the mail. I swear to God. This is after I graduated from Marist. I get something in the mail, and it says you owe like $800 or $900 for a course at Nassau Community College because I had to sign up for a course to be on the radio. But I never showed up, and I never paid. So hopefully they forgot about it. So anyway, listen.
With interest, that's about $5,000 right now.
Listen, I don't think that it's about telling people what the resume was.
I just wanted to hear it.
Well, you are, and by the way,
mine is so different.
Well, you were basically doing. Then just tell the story about the overnights here at the Fan.
Yeah,
this guy's schlepping in, getting on the air at midnight, talking about the Islanders and the Rangers.
No, it's not even that. So the problem was I wasn't a good football player when I first started playing for the New York. Actually, I was. That's a lie. But my journey is so weird. It's so different than most people that are sitting in these type of seats around the country, and especially even here in New York. I mean, I wanted to be an astronaut growing up. I went to UVA because I wanted to study engineering. I didn't like engineering because I was staying up too late, so I got into business school. I wanted to work for Oracle.
Right there, people know how different we are.
Right. I wanted to work
this guy wanted to be an astronaut.
I literally wanted to work for Oracle, and then I got good at football, and it changed my career path. And before you know it, I was a second-round pick for the Giants, and everything that I learned in database design and programming went out the window, and I became a New York Giant for a decade. But 2 years into my career, I was struggling really to stay healthy. I started my first couple of games, then I got hurt against the New Orleans Saints, and I'll never forget it. Like, I started to feel them trying to replace me, right? It was Joe Montgomery, then it was Sean Bennett, and then Gary Brown came in. And
by the way, I hope our boss Spike isn't trying to replace us already.
I know.
What, these guys run 10 minutes, they suck, get rid of them.
But the point was, early in my career, our manager, I've known Mark Lebselter for 20 years, he said, look, you got to divorce yourself from the game in the offseason. Just try something new. And so that something new was WFAN. So at 10 o'clock at night.
Would you just reach out to Chernoff?
I forgot how.
Well, I'm sure
Lev reached out. In some way, we formed a relationship. I had done spots, obviously, because I was playing for the New York Giants. And I said, let me do this in my off season. So when most people are chilling or in Cabo in their off season, I was getting up at 10. Actually, I was going over to Queens at 10 o'clock at night, working the overnights with Joe B, who was overnight at that point.
He's the best.
And, working till 2 a.m. and getting calls about the Islanders and these Russian names that I had no idea how to say. So
you better learn some of the Ranger names. They're pretty good.
But I leaned onto the callers and basically said, all right, you tell me, right? Teach me, because I don't know. But I learned to love to talk. And then obviously my career started to take off both on the field and then also in the media. So it was first, WCBS doing TV, and then it was the Yes Network, and then it was Fox News. I was doing Fox News on Tuesday mornings with Fox and Friends.
Was that with Kilmeade, or was that before him?
It was with Kilmeade.
Yeah.
He actually was the one that got me the start in it at Fox and Friends, because we were doing a children's book. He said, come host with me one day. So I did.
I remember jumping on that show when the HGH thing with Pettit first surfaced. I remember going on Fox talking about that.
So, very quickly, my career path started to change. It was like, I love football, but I know I'm not going to do it forever. So let me figure out what else I want to do with my life. And that's when, media started to become a big part of my existence. And I retired and worked for the Today Show. And, for a couple of years, I wasn't doing anything. And then CBS Sports Network launched, which is the national network that BT and I have been on for nine years. And we've had many different runs, both in the morning and then sort of the midday, and then we went to the afternoon.
Yeah. By the way, I'm happy to see you dressed a little differently for our first show on the Fan than you were. This guy shows up on our first show on CBS Sports Radio, January 2nd, 2013, wearing a tie, wearing a Letterman sweater. You looked like a Jack Urkel, is what you looked like. It's like, what the hell is this guy
That's
wearing?
what I am, dude.
I got a sweatshirt, a backwards hat on. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
That's what I am.
I know.
Anyways,
I've come to know that and love that, by the way.
I tell that journey because what I learned over all of these stops is that I just love sports, and I love talking about sports. And I've been a fan of WFAN for years because it was the way to get the pulse of the city, of the tri-state area. I don't want to exclude those up in Connecticut where my kids are.
Absolutely.
Or in
a lot
Jersey,
of listenership in Connecticut.
Where we live, obviously on the other side of the river. But the fandom was just like real. And I would battle with some of these guys on this network. Francesa and I used to have at it. And then we kind of became...
you and Francesa had at it.
Yeah, I know, you and Francesa. But, I mean, you went at it off air. I was like, we went at it on air.
I know you did. I remember some of those.
But then I started doing the stuff down at Bar A with him. And then we came to respect one another. And in fact, after we left the network on the national level and we're coming here, he sent me a note. And mine was different than the one he sent you, but he basically said, you deserve this, high and tight, you know the rest. Right? So it's just a great note, and I appreciate Francesa for both the battles, but also, the friendship as it became. We worked in the same building. So I mean, I love the fandom. I know it's not going to be all hunky dory and you know what's and giggles the whole time.
Nope.
People are going to come at us, come at me, and I don't mind that, man. I like to talk. I like to have conversation. If you don't like me, great. If you do like me, love it even more. But we're here for you. That's what BT wanted to start with, and that's what I wanted to start with as well.
I love it. 877-337-6666. We're inside of the Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest prices on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. You know, and you mentioned Francesa and the early days of the station. The thing that always resonated with me, and this is coming from somebody who would be in the car with my dad at like 7 in the morning, and if I didn't have to take 2 buses to get to the Q train on Kings Highway to go into Manhattan to go to high school at Xavier, which at that point I hated, and obviously as an adult I'm so thankful that he made me go there. Still not really sure how I got in, but I did go to Xavier. And so if it was really bad out, he would drive me to the train station, and he'd have Imus on, right? And
I remember when I went and saw Imus the first time. He had a gun on his hip.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, dude, this guy has a gun.
I was terrified of him when I met him as an intern.
As well.
Let's face it, he was just kind of mean. I mean, I don't really know that he was nice to anybody.
He was maybe a little bit nicer to me than he was to you.
Well, he wasn't very nice to me.
He still had a gun on his hip, which scared the hell out of me.
No, I got you. But it always caught me, even from, the hearing Imus and then hearing like the midday promos and Mike and the Mad Dog promos and just general FAN promos. It always caught me that it just sounded so big. And listen, and one of the articles that I did, an interview I should say, the last that actually came out today, it's on my Twitter account, at Brandon Tierney, if you guys want to check it out. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a pretty thorough read. I hopefully you'll enjoy it. But the last thing I said was, it's time to stop saying and it's time to start doing. And eventually, and next segment, we just start doing the show as we get into the Jets and start taking calls and eventually get to the Giants and the Knicks and do what you do every day doing a show here in New York. But the one thing that we will promise you, because this always resonated from the days of when the station was born in '87, Susan Waldman, the first voice. This will not change. This is a mantra for the station because the guys in the morning do it, and everybody else does it. Guys behind us do it. We will demand accountability and transparency from these teams in this city.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what.
You more so than me.
Well, that's fine. I
try to forgive some of these coaches sometimes.
Well, okay. No, that's fine. Hey, by the way, I'm not showing up here like predisposed to be negative. Like, I wake up, and we mentioned Benigno. I love Joe. We've played golf with Joe. We know his wife, Terry. Joe's a legend. He's a friend, right? But, no matter, Joe always woke up, the sky was dark as a Jets fan. And you know what? The guy's not wrong. But I wake up, and I'm like, you know what? The sky's a little bright. I'm going to look to illuminate the good. But when the bad is obvious, I'm going to crush you like a nut.
Such a downer, man. Such a downer.
But it's true. Well, wait till we get to the Giants, dude. Your Giants are listen, I don't want to give away the bread yet here, but your Giants are a disgrace.
Well, I mean, it got so bad.
They're a disgrace.
It got so bad that the first sports we're going to talk about today are the Jets and not the Giants, which is something
is it already apathy?
No, it's not apathy.
I mean, Giant fans, how much did they care about that game yesterday? What are you watching?
The problem is,
what do you care about
yesterday? The problem
yesterday?
is it's not entertaining. Like, if you can be bad.
I agree.
It's one thing to be bad. And I remember this when I was playing. I never want to be one of those back in my day, but I remember when I was playing, we had some bad seasons. People would say to me, well, at least you had a good game. Like, I can't even say that. This week I could because Saquon had a really good game.
That's
but other than that, it's not entertaining.
No.
And it's hard to watch football, which is tedious. It's a tedious game. No matter how you want to say it, no matter how much we love it, it's a tedious game. And if your team you want to watch sucks, it's hard to watch them. And that's what we've had for the last 19 points, BT, in the last 3 weeks. Not that we're going to start with the Giants, but that's kind of where my mind is.
No, but you're not wrong. And by the way, listen, what Giant fans should be doing right now is betting against the Giants. Bet against the Giants, make money. They literally have no chance to win with the neck at quarterback. They have no chance, none.
See, people could think you're insulting Daniel Jones with a neck injury.
I actually like Daniel a little bit more than most Giant fans
Mike
here.
Glennon in this long.
I'm talking about Glennon, who's terrible,
neck.
Fromm, who's got no arm. I mean, that is what is very disconcerting from even though, again, we're going to get to the Jets, but big picture for the Giants, like, Man, you flip on that game. You're down 14-zip, 4 minutes into it. You have a quarterback that's going to be gone next year. Your O-line's terrible. Like, what are you even remotely rooting for? Coach could be dead man walking. GM is obviously gone. You don't know if you want Daniel Jones back. Like, what in the world is appealing about the Jets? At least my Jets give you a modicum of hope.
The only thing that's exciting about the Giants is the fact that there might be change. And that's a bad thing in a second year.
Well, it's a bad thing when it's always, McAdoo, change, Shermer, change. Do we now go Judge, change? All things we'll get to. All right, just out of the chute, Tiki and Tierney here on the Fan, 877-337-6666, Twitter, at Tiki and Tierney. We got Hoff. Hoff, what's up, buddy? Why don't you give us a quick hello? What's going on there,
What's
Hoff?
up, boys? I'm excited about this, man. I've been dying. All month long, I've been waiting to once I heard the news, I was pumped about this. January 3rd couldn't come soon enough. I'm here with you guys. I'm stoked.
You know what I love about Hoff? First of all, he's got an energy that I love. You could just tell, T.
Yep.
The guy's bringing energy.
It's freaking New York, bro.
They do. No explanation necessary. Trust me. I'm going to be pretty revved up every day. So Hoff is here. Dove, how are you today, buddy? What's going on?
God, how you guys doing?
We're doing
Fantastic.
great.
Happy New Year,
There's
fellas.
that energy, bro. The Dove energy.
Look at the Dove man. Dove rocking it. All right, 877-337-6666. We gave you a little taste of just a little taste of the Giants, but we will get into the Jets thoroughly next. And by the way, when we take these calls out of the chute, we understand there's a process of feeling out. We don't have to dive right into, that ridiculous play, 4th and 2. We'll get to all that stuff. You want to throw something by us personally? You want to have a little fun? We ease into it. Day one, hopefully, of a long, successful, lasting run here at the Fan. Tiki and Tierney, back in a sec.